Lesson 1.5. Describe angle pair relationships. By the end of today's lesson, we will be able to successfully solve multi-step problems and construct proofs involving vertical angles, linear pairs, and supplementary angles. Two angles are complementary if the sum of their angle measure is 90 degrees. Each angle is said to be complement of each other. Two angles are supplementary if the sum of their angle measures is 180 degrees. Each angle is described as supplement of each other. So again, complementary angles, when you add two angles together, the total sum is 90 degrees. And for supplementary angles, when you add two angles together, the total is 180 degrees. Now, let's look at adjacent angles versus angles that are not adjacent. So adjacent angles are two angles that share a common vertex and side. So if you look at the picture here, these two angles, angles 1 and 2, are considered adjacent because they share a common vertex and a common side, but they have no common interior points. And angles 3 and angles 4 would be considered non-adjacent, but as long as angle 3 and angle 4, when you add them together, if it equals 90 degrees, they are still considered complementary angles. And the same goes for supplementary angles. Share same vertex, same side, they're adjacent. And if they are not adjacent, but if the total measure of angle 7 and 8 is equal to 180 degrees, then they are still considered supplementary. Example 1. In the figure, name a pair of complementary angles. So I see that 52 plus 38 gives me 90 degrees. So my complementary angle, I'll just write COMP for short, will be angle ABD and angle CDB. So ABD, CDB. And we also want to name a pair of supplementary angle. So I see that 52 plus 128 is equal to 180 degrees. So my supplementary angles are angle ABD and angle BDE. And then a pair of adjacent angles will be angle BDC and angle BDE. So let me write that down. Part B. Are angle BDE, so BDE, and CDE, adjacent angles? I would say no, because they have common interior points. Example 2, part A. Given that angle 1 is a complement of angle 2, and the measure angle 2 is 57 degrees, so find measure angle 1. So we just have to take 90 degrees and subtract 57 degrees. And that would be 33 degrees. And part B, given that measure angle 3 is a supplement of angle 4, and measure angle 4 is 41 degrees, and we want to find measure angle 3, so we just take 180 degrees, subtract 41, and that gives you 139 degrees. Example 3. The basketball pole forms a pair of supplementary angles with the ground. Find measure angle BCA and measure angle DCA. So we would have to take 3x plus 8, add it to 4x minus 3, and set it equal to 180 degrees. And this would equal to 7x plus 5. And 7x equals 175. X would equal 25. Now, 3 times 25 plus 8 would give you 83 degrees. And 4 times 25 minus 3 would give you 97 degrees. So here are your answers. I would like you to pause the video and do example 4 on your own, and then continue to play the video for the answers. Now check your answers. Two adjacent angles are a linear pair if their non-common sides are opposite rays. So here we have a pair of adjacent angles, and their non-common side are opposite rays. So we call them a linear pair. But if you have two angles and they are opposite of each other, and if their sides form two pairs of opposite rays, so this one and this one, then we say that they are vertical to each other. So this angle 3 and angle 6 are vertical angles. Angle 4 and angle 5 are vertical angles. Example 7, part A. Identify all of the linear pairs and all of the vertical angles in the figure below. So let's go with linear pairs first. I'm going to abbreviate linear pair as LP. And I will say angles 1 and 2 and angles 2 and 3. And for vertical angles, we have angles 1 and 3. Part B. Are angles 1 and 4 a linear pair? Angles 1 and 4. Explain why or why not. I would say no, because they are not adjacent. Example 8, part A. Two angles form a linear pair. I'm going to draw a picture. The measure of one angle is 4 times the measure of the other. So I'm going to let the smaller angle be x and the larger angle be 4x. Find the measure of each angle. So we know that 4x plus x equals 180. So that would be 5x equal to 180. And then x would equal to 36. So that would be the degree of one angle. And then 36 times 4 is 144. So we have the measures of two angles. Part B. The measure of an angle is twice the measure of its complement. So I'm going to draw another picture. So this is x, this is 2x. Find the measure of each angle. So I'm going to take this, 3x equals 90, and x would equal to 30. And the other angle will be 30 times 2, so 60. So these are your answers. There are some things you can conclude from a diagram and some you cannot. From the below, you can conclude that all points shown are coplanar, meaning all the points lie on the same plane. Points A, B, and C are collinear, and B is between A and C. And for the next point, line AC, ray BD, ray BE, they intersect at point B. Angle DBE and angle EBC are adjacent angles. And angle ABC is a straight angle. Point E lies in the interior of angle DBC. And from this diagram below, you cannot conclude that segment AB is congruent to segment BC. You also cannot conclude that angle DBE is congruent to angle EBC. Angle ABD is a right angle. This information must be indicated as shown below. In order for segment AB to be congruent to BC, they need to use a symbol, the little line here, and two little arcs for the second point, angle DBE congruent to angle EBC, and a little square representing the right angle. And we will continue the lesson in class.